Okay, so we got a John Deere 26 horsepower V-twin Briggs and Stratton, and we're supposed to be doing a service on this, a 50-hour service. When I say 50-hour service, you're supposed to do these services every 50 hours, but there's other things that we're going to include on that, because like the valve adjustment, that's an every 200-hour service. Well, this one's got 400 hours, and I'm sure it's never been adjusted. So we'll go ahead and get started on draining the oil. I've already warmed up the engine so it'll drain easier, but that's not the only reason you'll do it. It also stirs up all the stuff in the sump, so you can kind of get that dirt out of there a little bit. Now we'll wash this after I get it all serviced, and the reason I wait until afterwards is if I spill oil or grease or something, we can okay, see how loose that is? This is very typical. The whole shaft is spinning, and that's why we have all this oil here. So we'll need to tighten that. Then when you want to drain it, you turn it and pull. I opened up the dipstick, that made it pour out faster. So while we're sitting here waiting, we'll go ahead and check the tire pressure. Okay, so it says inflate to 12 psi. That's a little different than what I'm used to. It's usually 14, so that one is good. Okay, so this is missing a valve cap, so I'll go ahead and replace that. So now we'll remove the oil filter. Somebody put that on there super duper tight. Okay, I'm going to put some clean oil on the seal, the gasket. You'll just have to trust me, it's clean. It came out of a fresh container. So this is the reason why I wait to wash it, because I got to get that, you know, I just made that mess. Okay, so now I'm going to put on a fuel shutoff valve. Now, not only did this needed a tune-up, it wouldn't start. So I had to do several things to get it to start correctly. The gas tank was clogged and it had bad gas in it, so I had to drain the gas out. Now what I did was I disconnected here from the fuel filter. You know, I came down below the mower here, and I was going to let it drain, but it wouldn't drain. So I literally had to suck that out because the gas tank was clogged. And in here, I saw a fly in here yesterday. That's a brand new fuel filter that I was going to change anyways because of the tune-up. So I won't be changing the fuel filters. My point is because I've already had to do it. Now these are directional, so there's an arrow right there. So we want that to go towards the carburetor. So I'm going to take a quick intermission from the tune-up and explain to you one of the other issues I found with that was fuel related was the choke. Now you might be able to see right here that this side is not rusted and this side is. So what it was is the throttle adjustment was slid all the way to this direction and it wasn't choking. So what I had to do was put the lever here all the way up the choke and then loosen this torque screw, pull the throttle cable out until this lever here choked. So I'm going to set this here so you can see that when I move the choke lever now, it comes all the way up. Before, this wasn't moving. So that's off choke, that's on choke. So before, like I said, before I made that adjustment, it wouldn't move. Okay, so we have completed the fill, the oil or drain. It's done. Now, I have not filled it enough. That's only about a quart, I think. So, but I'd rather check it multiple times instead of overfilling it. Yeah, it's right at the bottom of the add line. Okay, so it's full now. So now what I'm going to do is start the engine to get that oil filter full of oil. It may take a couple seconds for it to start because we got to fill the carburetor or the fuel line back up. We emptied it when we put in the shutoff valve. Or it may just fire right up. Okay, it's full. Okay, so now I'm going to put in a new air filter. I've already taken the old one out, and it's pretty filthy. I had done a lot of pre-work to this because of the issue with it not starting. So now I'm going to check and or adjust the valves. Now I've already had this cover off. I took it off because I wanted to see if we had a stuck valve earlier when I was checking why it wouldn't start. So, but I didn't adjust the valves. I just checked to see if they were stuck. So that's why I put it on upside down, so it would remind me that I still got to do the silicone. Now I'm going to take the spark plug out because I'm going to have to turn the engine by hand so I can get the valves to come up and down. So these are new spark plugs because again that was something I was testing, wanted to see why we didn't have a why it wouldn't start. So I won't be changing the spark plugs because these are brand new. I'll do the other side now off camera. Okay, my recording got messed up on the other side, so I'll show you how to do it on this side, just the valves. So what we're going to do is I'm going to turn the engine by hand up here, and until one of these is all the way up and one of these is all the way down or in. So that one's all the way in and that one is all the way out. So what we're going to do, if you saw my last adjustment, it was on a Kohler engine and the specification was 4 to 6 thousandths. This one is a Briggs and Stratton and it's 4 to 7 thousandths. So we're going to stick the 4 in there. Goes in there quite fine, and so does the 7. So we need to tighten that one up a bit. Now on the Kohler, the locking nut was the torque screw on the outside and the adjustment was the nut. In this case, it's just the opposite. The locking is a 13-inch nut on the outside that we're going to loosen. And the adjustment is the torque screw. And so we'll put our 4 in there and we'll tighten that up some more. That's too tight. Okay, that's 4. And 7 doesn't go in. So now you have to try to hold your torques and tighten your nut. And we'll check it again. 4 goes in, 7 does not. So that one's great. And now we'll push this one in. We'll turn the engine, we'll push this one in, this one will come out. We'll check it with the 4. 4 goes in. Yeah, that's great. 7 does not. So we don't have to adjust that one. Okay, I had to put silicone on the valve covers, but I've decided I'm going to wash the engine or wash the mower before I put the silicone on the valve covers. The reason is I got to wait 24 hours for this to dry. If I put the silicone on in there, I got to lift the engine up so oil doesn't drip down. Well, if I put the silicone on, then wash, and then lift it up, that oil is going to drip down onto that silicone and from inside. So I thought I'd just put the cover on, wash it. But before I do that, I'm going to take the shroud off here real quick, because I see stuff, you know, maybe like a mouse nest, maybe. And so I want to check, see if there's a mouse nest underneath there. These don't have to come all the way out. There's 2 on each side, I think. No. So we'll just loosen those. I'll take this off. Well, there's no mouse nest. That's all I was worried about. Okay, so now we're gonna clean off the valve covers. We're gonna get that Permatex off. Now I'm going to clean the edges of the valve cover or valve area. Okay, so now we're going to put some Permatex around it to seal it up. Okay, now I got the Permatex on. I'll put the cap back, or the cover back on. You want the OHV at the top, or reading you know, upright, because at the top you got your model number and your part number. Makes it easier to look up parts when you got that. Okay, we're not going to tighten them very tight. What we're going to do is just let it squeeze out a little bit, the Permatex, and then we'll wait 2 hours before we tighten them up, according to the instructions on the back. Okay, so now I'm going to sharpen the blades. So we'll take it off. Okay, so when you put your blades on, make sure your blade is down on the downside and the fan is on the upside. Then we're going to match the teeth up if you have a star pattern type of blade. Okay, so now I'm going to grease the zerks. Okay, so I think it's all serviced. I'll let this dry overnight. Of course, I got about another hour before I have to tighten the bolts up on the overhead valve, and then I'll let it dry overnight. I'll call I'll start it and call the customer and let him know it's ready to go. So, if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video where I was working on something. So I hope this video helps you work on your equipment. under the shade tree. Thanks for watching.